What if the greatest secrets of engineering were never ours to begin with? How did civilizations thousands of years ago lift stones that even our cranes today struggle with? How did they align massive monuments with celestial precision, without satellites, lasers, or computers? Could it be that the ancient builders knew something we don't? Today, we are diving deep into the blueprints of the past, exploring impossible structures, mysterious techniques, and ancient knowledge that continues to baffle even the smartest minds of modern science. Because when you look closely at what our ancestors built, you might start to wonder whether we are really the most advanced generation or just the most forgetful. The forgotten knowledge of stone and stars. Let us begin where human curiosity meets the impossible, the towering monuments carved from stone, aligned with the heavens, and built long before recorded history. 1. The Great Pyramid of Giza, beyond human capability. For centuries, the Great Pyramid of Giza has stood as a symbol of human achievement, yet also a riddle that refuses to be solved. Constructed more than 4,500 years ago, the Great Pyramid consists of 2.3 million limestone and granite blocks, each weighing up to 80 tons. The joints between these stones are so tight that even a razor blade cannot pass through them. How did ancient Egyptians, without modern machinery, cut, transport, and position these stones with such surgical precision? Even more puzzling, the pyramid is aligned perfectly with true north, to within 1/15 of a degree. Modern engineers using GPS struggle to replicate that. And the layout of the three pyramids of Giza mirrors the stars in Orion's belt, suggesting an astronomical understanding far beyond what was supposedly possible in 2500 BCE. Could they have inherited lost knowledge from an earlier forgotten civilization? Or perhaps learned from teachers, not of this earth? Some researchers point to the ancient Egyptian texts themselves, which speak of the Zep Tepi, the first time, an age when gods walked among men and taught them the secrets of heaven and earth. Were these gods real beings, or survivors of a pre-cataclysmic civilization whose memory was later mythologized? Whatever the truth, one thing is certain. The Great Pyramid is not just a tomb. It is a message, carved in stone, that challenges our understanding of ancient science. 2. The stone giants of Baalbek travel north to modern-day Lebanon, and you'll find another site that seems to defy logic. Baalbek, home to the Temple of Jupiter. Beneath the Roman ruins lies a platform built from megalithic stones so massive that they make the pyramids look modest. One block, called the Stone of the Pregnant Woman, weighs 200 tons, heavier than 200 African elephants combined. No ancient technology we know of could have moved such a stone. Yet there it lies, perfectly placed. Even more confusingly, the foundation stones are older than the Roman temple above them. So who built them? And more importantly, why would anyone go to such lengths to use stones that size, when smaller ones would have done just as well? Some archaeologists suggest a lost civilization predating Rome, a culture that possessed advanced lifting techniques or anti-gravity technology. Ancient legends speak of the site being built by giants, or even by the command of Solomon's demons. But if we remove the mythology and look at the evidence, we are left with the same unsettling question. How? Modern cranes can barely lift 400 tons, yet someone, thousands of years ago, quarried, transported, and precisely fitted blocks 3 times that weight. Did the ancient builders possess a knowledge of physics and vibration we've lost? Were they using sound or resonance to move the unmovable? In Baalbek's silent stones lies a whisper from the past, one that says, "You think you know everything, but you've forgotten more than you remember." 3. Machu Picchu, the city that shouldn't exist. High in the Peruvian Andes, nearly 8,000 feet above sea level, stands the breathtaking citadel of Machu Picchu, built by the Inca civilization around the 15th century. But here's what few realize. Machu Picchu isn't just beautiful, it's impossible. Each stone in the city's walls fits with such precision that not even a credit card could slip between them. There's no mortar, yet the stones have withstood centuries of earthquakes and landslides. Even more astonishingly, the stones are not uniform. Each one is carved uniquely to fit perfectly with the next, like a 3D jigsaw puzzle of granite. How could the Inca carve and transport these blocks on such steep, uneven terrain, without the wheel, without iron tools, and without beasts of burden? When Spanish conquistadors arrived, they were convinced the Incas must have used magic. Some local legends speak of stones that softened when exposed to a mysterious liquid, possibly allowing workers to mold them into shape. Could this be ancient chemistry or alchemy lost to time? Modern engineers still cannot fully explain how the Incas achieved such mastery. Machu Picchu seems to reflect not just architecture, but philosophy. The idea that humans were meant to build in harmony with the earth, not against it. Perhaps that was the real secret the ancient builders knew. That balance, not brute force, is the true foundation of civilization. 4. The precision of Puma Punku. Next, we travel to Bolivia, to the mysterious ruins of Puma Punku, part of the Tiwanaku complex near Lake Titicaca. At first glance, the site appears to be nothing more than piles of stone blocks scattered across the ground. But when you look closer, you see something extraordinary. The stones here are cut from andesite, one of the hardest rocks on Earth. Yet their surfaces are perfectly smooth, their edges so sharp you could slice your finger on them. The cuts include 90-degree angles, drilled holes, and interlocking patterns that look almost machine-made. Some blocks feature precise notches and grooves, like parts of a massive, ancient construction set. How could a civilization 2,000 years ago, with no metal tools or wheels, achieve this level of precision? Even the most skilled stonemasons today would struggle to replicate these cuts without power tools. Archaeologists attribute the site to the Tiwanaku culture, but the local legends tell another story. They claim that the gods built Puma Punku in a single night, using vibrations and light. Could these be symbolic descriptions of technology, or memories of a civilization that once harnessed energy in ways we've yet to rediscover? Whatever the case, Puma Punku forces us to confront a difficult question. Did ancient people really build this using stone hammers? Or did they inherit knowledge from someone or something far older? 5. The Stargate temples and celestial codes. From Egypt to Peru, one pattern repeats: the alignment of ancient monuments with the stars. At Stonehenge, the sun rises perfectly over the heel stone during the summer solstice. In Egypt, the pyramids align with Orion's belt. The temples of Angkor Wat mirror the constellation Draco. Even the lost city of Teotihuacan in Mexico is aligned to the Pleiades star cluster. How could cultures, separated by oceans and millennia, all share the same obsession with the sky and the same cosmic precision? It is almost as if they were trying to send a message, not to the gods above, but to the future below. Perhaps the ancients understood that the earth and heavens were part of one grand system, an interconnected design that we, in our rush for technology, have forgotten to see. Maybe that's what they knew: a universal geometry, a sacred science that unified astronomy, architecture, and spirituality into one. The pyramids, the temples, the megaliths, they weren't just monuments. They were mathematical prayers, carved in stone. As we peel back the layers of history, it becomes clear: our ancestors weren't primitive builders struggling with rocks and ropes. They were engineers, astronomers, and mathematicians, working with knowledge we barely grasp. But how far did this knowledge go? What if it wasn't just about stone and stars, but something deeper: energy, resonance, sound, and power itself? In the next part, we'll explore the darker side of ancient technology, the evidence that ancient builders may have harnessed forces that even modern science can't to fully explain. Because if they did, it would change everything we know about our past and our future. The hidden science of the builders. We've seen how ancient monuments defy explanation: perfectly cut stones, astronomical precision, and architecture that withstands the test of time. But what if those structures are only the symptoms of a deeper mystery? Because behind the stones may lie something far greater, a science that has been erased, forgotten, or deliberately hidden. The question is, what did the ancient builders know about energy, frequency, and vibration that we no longer do. 1. The secret power of sound and vibration. Let's begin with something that connects all creation: sound. Ancient cultures across the world claimed that sound was not just a way to communicate, but a way to shape reality itself. In ancient Egypt, priests spoke of the word of the Creator, that the universe began not with light, but with vibration. In Hindu tradition, the sacred syllable Om is said to be the sound of the cosmos itself. And in the Bible's Genesis, creation begins with the phrase, "And God said." Could these myths be remnants of an ancient understanding that sound waves could influence matter? Modern experiments using cymatics, the study of sound vibrations on particles, show that sound can indeed create precise geometric patterns. Some researchers now believe the ancients may have used resonance to move massive stones, levitating or loosening them from the earth through harmonic frequency. Legends from Tibet tell of monks who could lift giant boulders using chants, drums, and horns, aimed in specific directions. British explorer Henry Kjelsen recorded these tales in the early 20th century, describing how stones were lifted hundreds of feet into the air simply by sound waves. Could this be myth, or evidence of an ancient technology based on frequency? If that's true, it would explain a lot, from the impossible precision of the Great Pyramid, to the tight-fitting stones of Pumapunku, to the smooth, vibration-free cutting marks found in ancient quarries. Perhaps the ancient builders didn't lift heavy stones with brute force. They sang them into place. 2. The lost art of anti-gravity and magnetism. Now imagine a civilization that could manipulate gravity itself. In 1920s Florida, a Latvian immigrant named Edward Leeds Kalnin single-handedly built a structure called Coral Castle, made of 100 tons of solid limestone. He claimed to have discovered the secret of the pyramids. Eyewitnesses saw him move giant stones alone, without cranes or pulleys, and only at night. When asked how he did it, Leeds Kalnin cryptically replied, "I understand the laws of weight and leverage better than those who built the Great Pyramid." To this day, engineers cannot explain how one man could have accomplished it. Some believe he used magnetic energy, perhaps rediscovering a principle once known to ancient civilizations. Archaeologists in Egypt have found iron cores within pyramid stones, suggesting the builders understood magnetism and even electrical conductivity. Could the pyramid itself have been part of a vast energy network? Recent studies propose that the Great Pyramid's chambers and shafts could have functioned as resonant cavities, amplifying electromagnetic energy from the Earth. In other words, it may have acted as a wireless power generator, thousands of years before Tesla dreamed of it. And if the ancients had access to a form of natural energy, magnetic, vibrational, or harmonic, it could explain how they achieved construction feats that seem beyond human capability. Were the pyramids monuments or machines? 3. Ancient machines. The evidence we overlook. Archaeology tells us that early civilizations used basic tools: copper chisels, wooden sleds, and rope. But then we find artifacts that do not fit the timeline. Take the Antikythera mechanism, discovered off the coast of Greece in 1901. This complex device, over 2,000 years old, contains interlocking bronze gears so intricate that modern scientists compare it to a clockwork computer. It could predict eclipses, track planetary positions, and even model celestial cycles. Yet history says such gear systems weren't invented until over a millennium later. How could a civilization supposedly limited to hand tools produce something so advanced? The same question echoes in Egypt, where drill cores found in granite blocks show spiral grooves that could only have been made by a rotary drill, applying pressure far greater than primitive methods could allow. At Abydos, hieroglyphs depict objects that resemble helicopters, planes, and submarines. In India's ancient texts, the Vedas, there are descriptions of flying craft called vimanas, said to operate on mercury vortex engines. These accounts span continents and millennia. Could they all be describing the same forgotten science, one that merged spirituality and technology? Modern engineers have recreated small models of vimanas based on the texts. Some demonstrate surprising aerodynamic properties. It's almost as if ancient builders were not just philosophers or masons, but scientists, recording principles of flight and energy in the language of myth. 4. The electric temples and hidden energy systems. Let's look deeper into Egypt's Temple of Dendera. On one of its walls, there's a carving that has caused decades of debate, the so-called Dendera light. It shows a large bulb-like object connected by a cable to a base resembling an electrical socket. Inside the bulb is a snake, perhaps symbolizing an electric current, and priests appear to be operating it. Is it possible that the ancient Egyptians experimented with electricity? We know they had access to basic batteries. The Baghdad battery, found in Iraq, dates back over 2,000 years and could generate small electrical currents. In temples, archaeologists have discovered soot-free chambers, suggesting they used a form of light that did not involve open flame. Could they have harnessed static or electromagnetic energy from the Earth itself, a planetary circuit that powered their sacred sites? Some researchers have noticed that pyramids, obelisks, and even stone circles like Stonehenge are placed on geological energy lines, also called ley lines, where natural electromagnetic activity is strongest. If these monuments were tuned to Earth's natural frequency, they might have served as energy amplifiers, not to light cities but to enhance consciousness, healing, or even interdimensional communication. Sound too unbelievable? Then consider this. Modern science has proven that the Great Pyramid's inner chambers naturally resonate at frequencies matching the Schumann resonance, the electromagnetic heartbeat of the planet itself. Maybe the ancients weren't trying to defy physics, they were working with it. 5. The forbidden knowledge that vanished. If ancient builders really possessed such advanced understanding, where did it go? Why did this knowledge disappear? One theory suggests a cataclysmic event. Perhaps the flood myths described in nearly every ancient culture wiped out a global civilization. Only fragments of their wisdom survived, passed down as legends and sacred symbols. Another possibility? It was hidden. Throughout history, secret orders and mystery schools, like the priests of Egypt, the Pythagoreans, and later the Freemasons, claimed descent from the keepers of ancient knowledge. They guarded the secrets of geometry, sound, and number, the same principles used in sacred architecture around the world. They taught that everything in the universe is built on vibration and proportion, the sacred geometry of life itself. And perhaps some of this knowledge was too powerful, or too dangerous, to be left in the open. Even Plato wrote that Atlantis fell because its people misused their technology, trying to harness divine energy for domination. Could our ancestors have learned that same lesson the hard way? If that's true, then maybe the monuments left behind weren't just buildings. They were warnings, eternal reminders that power without wisdom leads only to ruin. 6. Modern rediscoveries, the echo of the ancients. Today, scientists are beginning to rediscover what the ancients already knew. Quantum physics now confirms that everything is vibration, energy fields interacting at frequencies beyond human perception. Resonance, geometry, and frequency are proving to be the building blocks of both matter and life itself. What if the ancients had already discovered this, not through machines, but through consciousness? Monks, shamans, and temple architects all practiced disciplines involving sound, meditation, and geometry, which altered states of awareness. Perhaps they understood that the mind itself is an instrument, capable of connecting with and even shaping the physical world. It is humbling to realize the ancients may have walked among the same stones we stand on, but they saw the world through very different eyes. They didn't just build with stone, they built with frequency, they built with meaning. The ancient builders may have known that the universe itself is a symphony, and that to shape it, one must learn the melody. From sound levitation to magnetism, from lost machines to hidden energy grids, the evidence whispers one unshakable truth. Our ancestors weren't guessing, they were remembering. But if this knowledge once existed, and if it truly allowed humans to move mountains and harness natural power, then where did it all begin? Who taught them? In the final part, we'll travel even deeper into the unknown, exploring the origins of this mysterious intelligence and asking the most haunting question of all. Did the ancient builders learn their secrets from someone else? For centuries we've stared at the ruins left behind, pyramids that defy gravity, stones that whisper in geometry, and myths that echo the same impossible story. But here's the question that no scientist or skeptic can easily dismiss. Because all across the planet, from the deserts of Egypt to the jungles of South America, cultures that never met told nearly identical stories of gods descending from the sky, teachers emerging from the sea, and civilizations rising overnight with knowledge that seemed far beyond human reach. This is where archaeology meets myth, and where history begins to tremble. 1. The sky teachers and civilizers of the world. Ancient legends speak of beings who came from beyond, not always gods but instructors. In Mesopotamia, they were called the Anunnaki, those who from heaven to earth came. The Sumerians credited them with the creation of humanity itself, and said they taught people writing, architecture, and astronomy. In Egypt, Thoth, the god of wisdom, was said to have given humans the secrets of measurement, medicine, and geometry. In Mesoamerica, the feathered serpent god Quetzalcoatl appeared after a great flood to teach agriculture, mathematics, and cosmic order. And in Peru, the Viracochas, described as tall, light-skinned teachers with strange garments, arrived from across the ocean to rebuild society after chaos. Different names, but the same story. A sudden spark of civilization, lit by visitors, humanity was not meant to understand. Could these be metaphors for celestial events, or were they literal encounters? Ancient people describing contact in the only language they had. Even today, carvings, murals, and texts from across the world depict beings wearing what look like helmets, carrying strange devices, or standing within glowing ships descending from the sky. If we accept that all of it is mere coincidence, we must also accept that every civilization on Earth somehow imagined the same impossible details. 2. The Lost Mother Civilization Theory. Archaeologists often struggle to explain how complex societies, complete with architecture, calendars, and written languages, seem to appear fully formed. This has led some researchers to propose the idea of a lost mother civilization, an advanced culture that existed before recorded history and seeded knowledge across the world after a massive global disaster. Plato called it Atlantis, a mighty civilization that fell in a single day and night of misfortune, swallowed by the sea. In Hindu texts, it's remembered as Dwarka, a shining city beneath the waves. In South American lore, it's Lemuria or Mu, continent said to have vanished under cataclysmic floods. Geological evidence suggests that around 12,000 years ago, at the end of the last ice age, a catastrophic event occurred. Massive floods, sudden climate shifts, and extinctions swept the planet, an era known as the Younger Dryas. Coincidentally, that's the same period when Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, the world's oldest known temple, was built by mysterious hands. It appears suddenly, with no sign of evolution from primitive structures. It's as if a civilization emerged from nowhere. Some researchers, like Graham Hancock, suggest that survivors of a lost global culture passed their knowledge to later societies, the Sumerians, Egyptians, and Mayans, igniting the rebirth of civilization. If so, then the builders of Göbekli Tepe, the architects of the pyramids, and the designers of Machu Picchu were not the beginning, but the echo of something far older. 3. The code written in stone. Look closely, and you'll notice something fascinating. The most ancient monuments are built from the hardest materials known to their time: granite, basalt, diorite. These are stones meant to survive eternity. Why would ancient people carve their greatest messages in the hardest rock, unless they knew? Some believe these structures are not just tombs or temples, they're data banks, preserving information for a future age. At Giza, the Great Pyramid encodes the dimensions of the Earth, the distance to the Sun, and even the speed of light in its mathematical ratios. At Angkor Wat, the alignment of towers mirrors the stars of the constellation Draco, mapping celestial cycles that span 26,000 years. In Mexico's Teotihuacan, the layout of the city itself reflects the orbit of planets, scaled precisely to astronomical distances. This kind of precision isn't random, We knew the universe. Every angle, every alignment, every megalith may be part of a cosmic language, a story carved in stone, waiting for modern science to decode. 4. Encoded warnings from the past. But maybe those messages weren't meant to glorify the past. From the Mayan long count calendar to Egyptian prophecies of cyclical destruction, many ancient texts describe periodic cataclysms, floods, fires, and cosmic realignments that reset civilization. The builders might have understood that Earth goes through repeating patterns of upheaval, and that each cycle wipes out most knowledge. So, they did the only thing they could. The Sphinx, half buried in sand, shows erosion patterns consistent with thousands of years of rainfall, far older than mainstream history claims. If true, that means it could have witnessed the very cataclysm the ancients warned about. Perhaps that's why some monuments were sealed, forbidden, or hidden, not to keep people out, but to keep something in. Because if ancient technology could alter gravity, harness energy, or tap into the Earth itself, using it irresponsibly might be catastrophic. Maybe the ancient builders didn't vanish. Maybe they left, or went underground, waiting for the world to be wise enough to understand what they built. 5. Modern clues and scientific parallels. As incredible as these theories sound, modern science is beginning to mirror the myths. Quantum mechanics now tells us that reality itself behaves like a hologram, energy forming matter through resonance. Ancient builders might have known this intuitively, creating monuments that interacted with the very frequencies of the planet. Archaeoacoustics, the study of sound in ancient sites, has revealed that many temples and chambers amplify sound waves in specific frequencies tied to brainwave states like theta and alpha, those associated with meditation and altered consciousness. It's as if ancient architects were designing spaces not just for worship, but for transformation. In that sense, the Great Pyramid, Machu Picchu, and Stonehenge may have been machines of the mind, places where the human spirit and the physical world met in resonance. And the knowledge behind it all, proportion, sound, energy, and consciousness, may be fragments of the same ancient science we are only now beginning to remember. 6. The forbidden archaeology problem. Every so often, discoveries emerge that don't fit into the accepted historical model, and they are quietly dismissed. Stone spheres in Costa Rica that weigh tons and are perfectly round. Fossilized human footprints found alongside extinct animals millions of years older than civilization. And the Piri Reis map, drawn in 1513, which shows Antarctica's coastline without ice, centuries before it was supposedly discovered. How could cartographers in the age of sail know what modern satellites only recently confirmed? Maybe because they were copying from far older maps, relics of a civilization that once mapped the entire planet. If so, then history isn't a straight line of progress. 7. The ultimate question. What did they know? After everything, the sound frequencies, lost technologies, perfect alignments, and mythic teachers, one question remains. What exactly did the ancient builders know that we don't? Perhaps they understood that the universe is not a cold machine, but a living system, one that responds to harmony and consciousness. Their monuments may not have been machines of power, but instruments of balance, tuning the earth itself. They saw humanity not as separate from nature, but as part of a grand equation. And when they built with that understanding, creating structures that sang in resonance with the planet. Maybe the real technology of the ancients wasn't mechanical at all. 8. The message hidden in stone. So, what message did the ancients leave for us? Their temples, pyramids, and stone circles are not just ruins. They are reminders. Reminders that humanity once walked with deeper knowledge, greater humility, and profound unity with the universe. And maybe they left these monuments not for glory, but for us, the future children of a world that would one day rediscover the truth. That the key to our progress doesn't lie in machines, in remembering that everything, from atoms to galaxies, vibrates to the same universal rhythm. And when we finally listen to that rhythm again, as the camera pans over the silent stones of forgotten civilizations, the Great Pyramid, Machu Picchu, Gobekli Tepe and Angkor Wat, a narrator's voice whispers, they built to last forever, because the truth they carried was eternal. It waits, hidden in stone, for those willing to see beyond the surface. The screen fades to black. What if the ancients didn't build for the gods, but for us?